Hello YouTube. I'm going to cover some of the new Update 40 added content in the Valis Undermined. I think the most important one to cover for general audiences is the new Brightbonnet Subsume. So most people probably didn't buy the Warframe, rush them, and then subsume them and then rush them. So I'll show you how this thing works. So we'll go over the stats real quick before I demonstrate them working in this way. So what you do is when you cast it, it throws a mushroom. That mushroom has a duration. That's the duration listed at about 32 seconds in this build. And it has a radius at which it'll apply its buff. And the buff is listed as the effect duration. What that effect does is it gives you and your teammates strength and also energy per pulse. So the important thing to note with this is that you don't get that energy unless you're in the radius. And that pulse happens at its listed pulse rate, which I haven't found a way to change. So I'll demonstrate this happening. So I'll put mark about 22 meters out there, and this has like a velocity to it, so you have to kind of aim it high. I'm going to drain all my energy, but notice how I don't have the buff right now. I threw it far enough away to where I'm not in its range. So we're going to get in its range. Notice I got one pulse of energy. I got the strength buff for it, and no other pulse of energy. But if you go in here, you see there's pulse, 2, 1, pulse. So every 3 seconds it's pulsing, giving you that energy that it lists. I think that's an important thing to know. Even in a melee build, this can still be useful because you think the amount of time it takes you to travel. If you throw it in front of you, you're still at least getting one pulse. So, and then you get that strength buff. Depending on how your build works, you can get the efficiency down, the strength and efficiency to a point where you're at least able to maintain your strength or your energy, even in a build like I run. So I'm showing this on Umbra, but I'll show you what I'm actually running on Prime, because there was one thing I wanted to test and verify, and it does in fact work. And it's exactly what you think it would be. So when you have this out normally, you can get 2 at a time, like 2 per Warframe, I'm going to specify. Notice when I cast the third one, the first one I casted is gone. But an important thing to know is that Umbra can cast this. And his cast is independent. Now, I haven't seen him cast a third time, or like a second time to get 4 up, but it is separate. I don't believe Umbra's Sentience actually gets the energy, because when I wasn't running Preparation, I'm running Preparation now to see if I can get him to cast it multiple times. But he didn't appear to have enough energy to cast it more than once. And see, now he does, so you can, in fact, get 4 up at a time. But you have to keep in mind, he's not getting the energy. So that's where, if you wanted him to be able to sustain this, that's where something like Preparation, either that or don't mind these. I haven't changed these. Something like Preparation is how you can circumvent that problem. So it's probably, I would argue it's probably the best subsume now on Umbra if you're not going to run Warrior's Rest, because that is very powerful. The fact that he can keep that up for your team and for just not decasting it too. It's one of the few that doesn't go away when you pop into his sentience. What I'll show you as well is what I've been running before we get into some of the other things. So trying to get the strength as high as I can. This build was running into energy economy issues that, if you saw my Umbra build, I was using Archon shards to fix. In this case, it's kind of like Nourish, where more strength can kind of solve that problem. The only downside with like a melee-only build is the stationary nature of it, but you cast it once and you can pretty much get full energy from it. So nice little feature there. It does not proc Archon Intensify. Don't just ignore that. I'm testing that right now. Now, getting into some of the other things, and the melee specific huge buff that just happened, that maybe isn't one of those things that instantly comes to mind. So look at my combo duration. Notice how the combo duration is 20 seconds. And notice how I don't have anything modded to give me combo duration, and I don't have primaries and secondary equips. How am I doing that? The answer is that with the new arcanes that you can add, the primary and secondary, these work. Now, this works specifically on your heavy weapon. So what I've done here is I have a loadout for my heavy weapon that has dexterity arcanes. And these should apply, like the actual multiplicative or the additive damage should apply when you do actually pull it out. I don't really care too much for that. I care for the extra free 15 combo duration, 15-second combo duration, which is actually huge. And from my normal build, like what I'm using on my Arcwing, since that doesn't seem to matter, like it doesn't apply to your Arcwing melee, if that was even useful to have. But notice how I have a different build set up for this. So this is I tested a few things out. This is what I've been liking. If you think it works the way it does, like with some of the other melee or some of the other options, like this guy, these work exactly how you'd expect, but I'm keeping with my usual here. So that's a really nice feature, and I would highly recommend if you're someone like me who doesn't equip primaries and secondaries. The advantage to this, for those unaware, is when you go into fissure missions and you get the reactant bonuses for getting 10 reactant, you only get the bonuses that are possible for you to benefit from. So if you don't have primaries and secondaries equipped, you don't get primary damage and infinite ammo, and same with secondary damage and infinite ammo. So in a build like this, you're only ever getting melee damage or the strength and range, which is really good. It's kind of required on some builds in snapshotting in like super high strength into Exalted Blade. The other thing to note, let me see if I can show this real fast, is this was in the patch notes, and I verified this and tested this. Your Exalted Blade's emissive used to be wrong when you transferred into Operator. It used to go to heat. It used to be forced to heat. And it seems like DE is actually paying attention to some of these bug reports, or they're at least listening, because that is now fixed. So that is nice. It doesn't appear to use Arcanes or any of the equipped mods. I was hoping maybe they would buff that and then allow your Umbra to spread influence like crazy, but that's not the case. So just in case you were wondering, I already tested that. So that's a good bug fix, and that makes me happy. I mean, it seems like they're actually paying attention, whether that's bug reports I make or whether that's just that they're actually testing these things. So yeah, any questions about the Subsume? If you don't want to spend the necessary stuff to get it yourself in a very short time, then I would just leave comment below and I'll test some things. If it involves Warframes other than Excalibur, don't expect me to really test that interaction. Thanks for watching.